Hey, what's going on there, party people? Phantom here, and I'd just like to welcome you to a new segment I like to call the Couch Commando. And this is where I commentate over videos and talk about certain things that are going on either in the video game community or things that are going on with me. And today we're going to talk about a few things, one of them being this series, the bucket list series, and then just the actual real purpose of this video. And but we'll get to that in just a minute. So first things first, what is Couch Commando? Well, like I pretty much just told you, it's a series where I'm going to just discuss certain things that are going on in the video game community, and or even just the gameplay, and just certain things that are going on. It's a broad spectrum series where I don't have to necessarily commentate over the video itself. I mean, I'm playing Call of Duty on here, but when I get to the topic at hand in a few minutes, you'll see why it's kind of relevant. So I figured Call of Duty, gonna end up talking about Call of Duty and Battlefield, so why not have some Call of Duty footage to go behind it. So that is Couch Commando. As for the bucket list, after a few days of technical problems that I was having, I should be able to fire off and have the Castle of Illusion series get going and posted for everybody to view. And hopefully, with any luck, third time is the charm. Alright, so a couple of admin things out of the way, and let's get into the meat of today's Couch Commando. The video is titled, You Still Play Call of Duty? Like, question mark? And the answer is yes, I do, but the reason why the question is even being brought up is I've been seeing a lot of really negative comments on Black Ops 2 as of late, and I know it stems from the recent patch update that they did, which nerfed two of the most popular sniper rifles in the game. But more recently, including just a couple hours ago, which really spurred this Couch Commando segment, I was playing some Battlefield, and there was a person who was trying to argue against the fact that Call of Duty is one of the worst games that he's ever played. And I asked him, well, why is that? Why do you think that it is the worst game? Because when you think about the grand scheme of things and games that are produced on a yearly basis and just games in general, I mean, look at E.T. from, '83. You can't really say that it's the worst game. So we know it's an exaggeration, but I just asked him. I decided to spur the conversation and try to have a, intelligent adult conversation, and it just kind of went south from there. The reason why I bring it up is I really wonder why people have to label something as the best or the worst, as opposed to, something that is what it is. It's like when I look at Call of Duty, I look at it as an arcade type shooter, fast pace, and just you can kind of jump in and go, as opposed to Battlefield, where I can't really do that, but I also have more options. The maps are bigger, the amount of players is a lot more. I can drive vehicles, the engine is more detailed, and I'll touch on that in just a second. But they're completely two different games. You can't compare Call of Duty to, say, Halo, because they're the same genre of game, but they're completely different. Now, two games you can compare are, let's say, NBA Live and NBA 2K, because they are the same genre, and they're trying to do the same exact thing. They are trying to be a basketball playing simulation. So that's where you can, make those comparisons of which game is better. But do I still play Call of Duty? Yes. And let me explain why. To start, Call of Duty has a fondness for me. And that's because that's how I met my wife. I'll save the sob story of how we met for another day. Maybe we'll do a whole video on that, but that's how I met my wife. So I just have an affinity for the game because it reminds me of how we met and blah 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 blah. Next up, it's fast and it's quick. I can get into a game of Call of Duty just like this. In 10 minutes, I'm done. I can turn it on, load in, and just be done after I'm finished with one round. 10 minutes. Usually games last from about 8 to maybe 15, depending on how hardcore both sides are pushing. So like in this case, it's 115 to 58. So we're stomping them pretty handily. The chances are is we're gonna get to 200 and we're gonna win. So we'll be able to round this match out in about 9 minutes. The other thing is, it's just fun. I don't understand why people need to make this big, huge deal about, the fact that the engine is 5 years old. I got it. You want to talk about which engine looks better, which engine plays better? Battlefield's got it all over the place. I got it. But that's not the point. I mean, then that was what the argument of the person was making. That the whole thing they were focused on was the fact that the engine is 5 years old. The developers they don't have any inspiration when it comes to creating maps or it comes to thinking up new ideas. I would agree and disagree. I agree in the sense of it is the same map since 2005. And is it frustrating? Yeah, because I mean, we've seen it, we've played it, we have an idea what the textures are, we know the ins and outs of the system, you know how to head glitch, you know how to use just certain tactics in the game. You can still drop shot, you can do all of it. Everything that you did back in 2005, you can still do now. The one thing I will say though is why do we need to focus on this negative aspect of Call of Duty being the worst and Battlefield being the best? Because I mean, I play both. I play Battlefield on my PC and I play Call of Duty on my Xbox. Personally, like I said before, I think they're two totally different games. Not to be judged on anything but what is being presented in the game. Because, like I said, it's two different. It's the same genre, but two different types. I'm really curious to hear what other people have to say, and I'm not going to tell you that Call of Duty is better or Battlefield is better, because there's stuff in Battlefield which I like a lot, like the ability to be able to heal and give ammo and revive people, and I mean that's just a small part of the class aspect. But there's other things that I really like in Call of Duty, like the perk system and the kill streaks and just the fact that I can get in and play. So, and I mean, I'm repeating myself here, but I'm just trying to make a point. It's like, yeah, I still play Call of Duty, but that's because I like to have fun. I like to be able to get in and play my games, and I just play both. So sound off in the comments. I'd really like to hear what people honestly have to say about both series. I mean, as a whole, just go ahead and let it out. Try not to turn it into a flame war, though. But that being said, we're going to wrap up this first episode of Couch Commando and talk about just Castle of Illusion and some of the trials and tribulations that I've had with it. That game is becoming the bane of my existence right now. And part of it is the technical problems that I was having. The real short was that every time I would try to record, it would be about 7 seconds behind, and it was the computer essentially trying to catch up with itself, and it wouldn't record right. So I got way deep into the game, and then I ran into some small stuff, and it just it just became a royal pain in the butt. But that series is coming, I promise. Anyways, here's I'm Not Racist rounding out the last kill of the game. So that'll do it for this episode of Couch Commander, and we'll see you next time.